Yeah,
it was funny when you fan bombed Bogey right before her big reveal of her Iron Maiden car. While she's
like 2 seconds before she went, I was like, Bogey, I'm a huge fan. Please come talk to me. She's like, after 5. And then she went on stage.
Welcome to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast, where we dive into the high-octane world of market-leading shop owners, shop employees, and automotive enthusiasts from the aftermarket, restoration, performance, and racing industries. So strap in as we take you on an awesome journey with our guests as they share their real-life stories, lessons learned, business advice, and unfiltered insights to help you beat the school of hard knocks. Gearheads and Gasoline, fueling your success.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bauer with Motorhead Digital, and my co-host is Annette Bauer with Annette Bauer Creative. We're excited to welcome Riley Schlick, the talented owner of Riley's Rebuilds, to the Gearheads and Gasoline podcast. Over the past 5 years, Riley's carburetor rebuild business has grown and flourished as she now leads a team of 4 high school students rebuilding carburetors in their garage to earn money for car projects, insurance, gas, and to have a little fun along the way. In 2022, Riley's business went viral on social media, capturing the attention of the automotive aftermarket nationwide. Since then, she's been featured in top magazines and TV shows including Stacey David's Gears, All Girls Garage, Caffeine and Octane, and many more. Riley and her dad even have their own TV show with Hemmings called Repair to Rev. Using this momentum, she's expanded her business and invested in the 1966 Ford Fairlane, where she's documenting the restoration process to inspire other young car enthusiasts. As a passionate youth ambassador for the automotive aftermarket industry, Riley is an influential figure shaping the future of our next generation of gearheads. We're pumped to have Riley on board, so let's dive in.
Yeah, I think, Riley, I love the fact that you're just going to go meet these people. A lot of people, myself included, I've got over that, but CEOs, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time like the rest of us. Most of them in the auto industry, I've found, especially since being in ARMO, they're very approachable. You can have great conversations. Myself and 2 of my team members, after the HRA reception, we spoke to Stacey David for 45 minutes. And we're like, and we talked to Gene Winfield, got our picture with him. That was pretty cool. And he was awesome. So, you just have to get out there and have a conversation, not be scared to talk to people.
I was terrified most of the time, but it doesn't and the nice thing too is I think about it in a way that I love when people approach me. Yeah. I feel like I don't come off scary, but I love when people come and start talking to me. Yeah. Because sometimes I don't even know who's around me or who's in front of me. I'm bad with faces. I'm bad with names. So I always am like, I'm sorry if I've met you before. What is your name? And it's just, you're a human. Everybody's human. And that's it's still hard to this day. Like, he'll be like, oh my God, Riley. Like, oh my God, that's my idol. And I'm like,
all right, I fanboyed a bunch. I'll agree with that. I fanboyed it.
Or like Stacey David, for example. Right?
Go talk to Bogey.
I have a really funny story about him. Okay, so I'm running around with Katie in SEMA. Yeah. And he calls me, Riley, where are you? Where are you? And I'm like, okay, what's going on? He's like, come to the VIP, like,
where they were serving lunch
area. Yeah. That's where Queen goes, okay, listen. Stacey David. So right across it. I need you to introduce yourself and then call me over so I can meet him.
The wingman for Stacey David.
So Dad's using his daughter to gain access to
100%. Yes. I am living vicariously through my kid.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. And what happened? That was great.
Yeah, what happened was I talked to him. Like, obviously I really wanted to talk to him too. And then the next day he invited us to come on his TV show.
Come to Tennessee. It was at lunch. That's where all this stuff happens.
Yeah.
But I think what was really cool is you went over and you said, hi, Mr. David, my name is Riley. And he looked up and he goes, I know who you are.
Yeah.
I follow you.
That's a whole other feeling, right?
I think that was kind of when you were like, oh, I might be a bigger thing than.
Yeah, that was a really strange one because at SEMA, the first SEMA, I had a couple people come up and talk to me. And then, like, all of Edelbrock knew me, which I was like, okay, that's kind of understandable. And then, like, these bigger name, my idols were like, oh, yeah, I've heard of you. I've seen you on Facebook. I'm like, okay. Okay.
It's surreal, isn't it? Right? Where you're just like, oh, wow. And at the time that it happens, you're really just kind of like speechless. You're like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to say. Thank you. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Like you're kind of stuck with what to say, right?
I always say, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It was funny when you fan bombed Bogey right before her big reveal of her Iron Maiden car. While she's
like 2 seconds before she went, I was like, Bogey, I'm a huge fan. Please come talk to me. She's like, after 5. And then she went on stage.
That's hilarious.
It's all about connecting with people. It's all about putting yourself on the line. And there's a way to do it. Yeah. There is definitely a way. You can't go into meeting someone thinking they're going to give you anything. Like,
no,
that is a huge thing that I've talked to with a couple people that are higher is they're like, everybody comes to me
with the pants out. Yeah. Thinking
I'm going to give them a TV show or going to give them all this fame, which is not how it works. You need to go into it being like, you're my idol and I just want to be your best friend. Please adopt me.
Please adopt me. We met with Mark Beatty. He works for Redline Oil. And he had a really great statement that kind of aligns with what you're saying is, you know, obviously in the position that he is in, he gets a ton of people coming to him saying like, hey, we want to be sponsored by Redline Oil. Of course you do. Who doesn't? But when he like steps back and looks at that, the first thing that he looks at is, are you already doing business with us, right? Like, do you already use our product and do you already have experience before you come to me and ask for something for free or at a discounted rate, right? Because if you're just coming with your hand out, I have nothing for you. This has to be a mutual and respectful relationship. And exactly like you said, right? Like if you go up and you're just like, hey, so I want something, that's a turnoff. Like you wouldn't want somebody doing that to you equally. And I always look at that for my own business, right? Is that if support the people who support you. And that's like my motto baseline of everything.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then we were in the middle of college scouting. So I say finding business partners and interacting with people is kind of like that is you just don't give up. If you want to start a business that you want to work with, you send them videos. You show them that you really like want to have their business. You keep emailing them. You email a bunch of different people. You tell your story. You introduce yourself once. And then you walk away. And then a month later, you introduce yourself again. And then a month later, you're like, oh my gosh, hi. I just wanted to say hi. Like, I'm Riley again. I don't know if you remember me. And that's kind of a lot of people how I've gained a lot of people in my corner and sponsorships is I'll be like, I really want this. And it's a year. It's a year of working and
you have to build that relationship, right?
And that's a big thing too, is relationship. It shouldn't, how we look at it is it shouldn't just be business and business. It's friend and it's person to person, you know? It's like Edelbrock is a second family. They've offered us anything and everything under the sun, and they've been amazing. And I see a lot of their employees as like second brothers and uncles. Like they just are the sweetest family ever. And that will like always be our family.
That's going to be a go-to forever. And that again goes to the brand thing. Like Edelbrock, Moroso, the A&D, they're just good companies. The people are just quality people. They have quality products and awesome reputations. And that is like, you just have to know who you're aligned with. And it's okay if you want to go like, the goth side of things. Yeah, there are companies in the automotive industry that love that. And that's their brand. Go there. Yeah. That's totally cool.
Exactly. Yeah. You've probably seen that AMD, Jason Chandler from AMD was on the podcast, and they're really aligned with Motorhead Digital. We're building a drag and drive car that they've contributed heavily to. So we're good friends with them. They're amazing people. I've run into so many people. But Riley, I wanted to ask, you go to SEMA, You've been at SEMA. Are you a member of SEMA or any of the councils or networks like ARMO, SBN, or FLN?
We are members. We are part of SBIU and then SBN. We are slowly trying to get through panel work. I chalked up a really funny joke of second year SEMA that I wanted to be the youngest president of SEMA.
And she told that to Mrs. Pendergast at
Really?
Yeah.
the current president of SEMA.
And she was like, done deal, let's get you going. And so we're a part of the pack, and
Nice.
we're slowly trying to see what I can do. I just turned 18, so a lot of, well, not just I just turned 19, but
19.
like it was
At that
difficult
time, yeah.
at the time. I was younger, so it was harder to approach certain things. But I'm trying to get way more involved, so I'm really excited.
I think that I saw you when we did. So I did the SBN at, I want to say it was PRI. And I think you were at one of the roundtables that we did. I remember hearing your story. And so as you were talking, I was like, I'm pretty sure she was at one of the tables that I was moderating.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
yeah.
Well, doing all of when we brought the girls for the first year, I put them in every one of the female-oriented seminars. The Gear Up girls, the SBN banquets, everything. And I didn't go in. Like I just was like, in the door, go.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're in a safe spot and they're gonna, they're gonna be handled with kid gloves and delicately. So it was just awesome. I mean, the internally within SEMA, the women's networking is incredible. I mean, SBN is just absolutely amazing.
I love SEMA for the fact that networking, like it's a networking show, but it's absolutely amazing. And I like how, I remember our first year, we went into one of the sessions and they were talking about how to get the youth in. I raised my hand. I was like, I'm 17, y'all. Like, before this, SEMA didn't have anything below 18.
Right.
So, like, looking inwardly before outwardly is definitely, like, it's a big thing,
It is. It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And the fact that you were willing to put yourself out there and be that extrovert to say, I'm okay with being that face and being that voice and giving other people a comfort zone of sharing their voice, right? Younger generations, other females. And I do 100% agree with you, especially as it applies to SEMA and SBN, like that. How they kind of embrace the women in the trade is so great. There's so many different things that we can get involved in to help other women come up and understand that there is a place for them. That yes, it is a place where, like guys did start this, but as we evolve and generations come up, that there's so many opportunities for women to get involved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Riley, if you're headed for the president and things like that, start out, we just had elections for all the councils and networks. Those are done, but start out with, the nominations won't start until next May, I think, again, but definitely look next year and get on a council, become a member, get elected to a council. And you can only submit to one. So SBN or FLN, even ARMO. But think about where you can help the most. That's when I looked at joining ARMO, I was between ARMO and HRIA. And I felt with my marketing skills and what we do, ARMO needed, at the time, needed more. I could help them more than HRIA. So I'm going into my second term as one of the best things I ever did. So that's a good starting point for you. I feel that if you're shooting for the top of SEMA, get on a council or at least start volunteering with SBN or a network. There's a lot of volunteering opportunities too.
Yeah.
Damn it. She's shooting for the stars.
Heck yeah, you should. Go for it, girl.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Annette Bauer Creative. At Annette Bauer Creative, we understand the power of visual storytelling in transforming brands and driving growth. From capturing the essence of your products and services to showcasing the unique solutions you offer, our professional imagery and reels help bring your brand to life. Fuel your brand and ignite your vision at AnnetteBauerCreative.com.
Yep.
That's very cool.
So I wanted to ask you about, some of the challenges and opportunities what challenges have you had? We've already talked about lots of opportunities. You have a ton of opportunities, but as you've done this business and created this business and it's gone viral, what are some of the biggest challenges you ran into as a young person doing that, besides men looking down to you and going,
You're a female and you don't know anything.
Exactly. What were the challenges and how did you overcome those? And I'm sure you had a lot of guidance from your dad.
Yeah. The first one was definitely my age. It's very difficult to do a bunch of the business aspects as a minor. Another one was because of my age. A lot of people didn't take me seriously right away. And that's why, like, at shows, I dress very business attire. Like, you will see me in very nice pants and a blazer, or like with a Riley's Rebuild t-shirt under. And in heels. I'm 6 foot. I will be 6'3" at shows. And that's, I think, to combat the idea that, like, female and young, like, I come off more, I don't know, I feel like I come off more stronger. And if I come off more confident, people will take that more seriously.
Dress the part, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And then difficulties. I would say probably balancing time was a really big one. Junior, senior year, I could actively do it a little bit easier because I was home. I could be with him all the time. We could talk about a lot of things. I was in the garage actively. I did have soccer, but I didn't. Towards the end of senior year, I wasn't really doing soccer because I had already signed to a college. And like, all my girlfriends were in the garage, so I wasn't pulled away. I wasn't a big social person, so I wasn't going out and doing anything. And with college now, I play for the school, so college soccer. I'm
like 3 months.
I'm gone. So, like, I am not there. Yeah. And then in spring too, it's also like that. I'm a triple major, so I'm doing math, physics, and engineering.
Oh my gosh, girl.
And I'm actively traveling while trying to sustain the business and the social media and the editing. And he and Grim have helped a lot with that side. I have been like, guys, I'm out for the next 2 weeks. Like, I have finals. Like, you're just not going to hear my voice for the next 2 weeks. And
we can a bunch of social media content just to be able to draw from it. When she's live.
That's smart, definitely.
Yeah, that's a big thing, is during the breaks or summertime we'll come home. And so, like, right now, for example, I'm taking a 6-week calculus course, and it's Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, 4 hours, 6 to 10 p.m. And normally there's ESSER quizzes every single day before, so normally it's 5 hours.
I don't know where this kid came from. I do not understand.
And so, like, I'm after this, I'm studying all day, and he knows not to bother me the entire day. So it's just the balancing of that. And I think because I've created such, like, he obviously is my dad, but he's also my business partner. I like to say that too, is like, that was a big thing coming into it as well, is people would be like, oh, your dad is doing it all for you. I'm like, no. Like, the girls, for example, I was not yelling at them. I was being their boss, and they would be like, you're our best friend. Like, you can't be our boss. And so I was like, okay, you're bossing. So, like, it's just responsibility. It's that responsibilities. I feel like I matured very, very quickly.
Staying on track, managing time is a big one. And staying on the social media aspect, because that's really the engine that drives this. Is canning content. Like, just can as much as you can. And when you have free time, produce. Just produce and can, and just stick it in the box.
And be vulnerable, right? Like, that is actually how Barry and I met, by that statement, is be willing to put yourself out there, and just, you never know what little piece you're going to build is going to resonate with somebody else, right? And again, like you'd said, Riley, sometimes when you're in that group of people, you have no idea who is around you, and you have no idea how far your voice carries and what weight it has with it. So anytime, like you said, you've got idle time. No, there is no idle time, because there's always opportunity to build content.
Yeah. And then another big one I would say would be sacrifice. Kind of like SEMA and PRI are right in the middle of my finals every year. It has been since junior year. And I've just had to be very open with my schools and communicate very well and know that I'm studying on the road.
Yeah, there's a lot of studying on airplanes and in passenger seat of the car. And it's a sacrifice.
And then like
It is.
Way to put it.
we also, with the yes ands and everything, like we have to sacrifice like some family time. Like we're actually getting our pro comp licensing, but it's
Nice.
during his birthday.
Next week.
So
That's actually a really good birthday present.
Yeah,
Just
that's
saying.
pretty cool.
We talked about living vicariously through my car daughter. So we're going to Frank Hawley's drag school. So I'm getting licensed in a pro gas, and she's getting licensed in a pro comp.
Oh, I'm
Nice.
jealous. I always wanted to go to Frank
so
Hawley's
excited.
school.
he's happy, but mom isn't.
Yeah, mom's like,
Because
Yeah,
mom's
that's pretty
missing his
standard.
birthday.
Yeah.
But
Well, mom
I
needs to
think-
get her license too. Come on.
yeah, mom is mom is not the car person, which really helps when random projects show up and she's like,
What's that?
wasn't that car blue?
Blue.
No, it's been red all this time. No.
Yeah, I have a team member that has a motor in his garage with a blanket over.
Oh yeah. Well,
And his wife's setting up for a party and sets the pizza boxes on the engine and is like,
Yeah.
just don't take the cover off because it's really not there. Wink, wink.
Right, yeah. Nobody needs to know that. Yeah, the garage has become like the domain of Riley's Rebuilds, and
Yeah.
mom comes in and delivers snacks and stuff to the kids and does some video work and hangs out and actually we have a really fun video. We just did a charity event and
We brought a monkey.
and the charity was this like rescue farm, and she brought a bunch of like exotic animals to show.
Very cool.
And one of them was this little cotton top monkey. And
Oh, wow.
it's just Kara is videoing, and this thing is jumping from like shoulder to shoulder as the kids are working on carburetors.
Oh,
And
I
the
can't
thing
wait to see
turned
that.
And jumped straight at her face while she's filming, and she lost it. She started screaming, running. It was fantastic.
I think
Oh
with
my
the
God.
difficulty aspect, going back to the question, like, I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, you had such a difficult time in this industry." No, I haven't. No,
No,
Right.
this industry
This
is
industry's
incredibly
amazing.
open
it's amazing
and willing to like.
to help, especially with the youth. I think that's a big.
Yeah.
I always tell people are like, "Do you think you get like slashed down because you're a girl?" Like, actually, I think I do better because I'm a girl, because I come off not as a timid female, and I come off knowing who I am and confident and wanting to rock the world. Like,
Yeah, you're all in, right?
To help and give the world. So it's just really all about how you present yourself. What do you do with your connections? And, like, not letting the difficult, mean words hit you.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Well, I mean, and confidence goes a really long way, right? But it also has a lot to do with you not only walk the walk, but you talk the talk, right?
So I make it. I don't think half the talk can do it there. And people like sometimes like I tell people like I'm really bad with names and face. If you name drop them, like, yeah, oh my gosh, yes, I know them. But you just gotta make people feel heard and loved, and you're a good human, and you'll get that back in return.
Oh, tenfold for sure. And Riley, you talk about your dad being your partner and people asking questions about that. He's your mentor also, especially in business, right? Yeah. So having a mentor is huge. I have a number of mentors and still yet. and it's made a big difference in my life. And always look for these other people that you look up to and say, hey, teach me something, help me understand something, right? Because you can't know everything. And I will tell you, as your business grows, and you've already started it, don't try to do everything yourself. Focus on what you're an expert at and find the other people, like your dad and other people that are experts at certain things, right?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I have a bunch of different mentors that I'd say, like Bogey's one of them.
That's awesome.
Alex is definitely one of them. A lot of the females in the industry.
Who also were incredibly generous with their time and their willingness to give that mentorship, to give that information. When she got offered the TV show with Hemmings, Alex said, "Send me the contract. I'll read it. I'll tell you what I think." It's these. That's incredible for someone to do in the industry.
All of them. Bogey, Stacy, David, Alex.
That's huge because they want you to succeed. They want the industry to move forward because we've talked about this, Annette and I, about there was a fear for a long time that the industry is going to die because a lot of people are aging out. It's just the fact of life, right? And we didn't see a lot of younger people coming into it. I do see a big shift in that. And I love the fact that your mentors, people that are young and old, are saying, hey, we'll help you. This is what you need to do. Think about it this way. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the people might be aging out, but the cars aren't.
No, they're not.
They're still here.
No.
And if we just get the next generation to see classic cars as cool again, somebody pulls up to their high school parking lot with us, a 69 El Camino. They're going to be the coolest kid in their high school parking lot.
Go, what is that? That's neat.
Yeah. I don't care about the Teslas and I want to see that.
So funny story is my husband's nephew. His dad helped him essentially kind of rebuild and I don't know what year it is. I just know it's like an S10. And that was 100% like the era of, his dad and my husband. They both had, like those trucks when they were younger. And so now his son was like, oh yeah, that's super cool. I would love to do that as my build for my first car. And so he's got, like I said, he's got an older S10. And he said the other day when we were having a conversation, he was just like, all the kids at my school have new cars, right? That they have Teslas or they have, Camrys or they have whatever. And they're just like, your truck is really old. And he's like, yeah. And it's really awesome, but like he genuinely loves that truck and he genuinely loves what he's put into it because it is older and it's something that he put his hands on to build, not just something that was bought.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely like, I went to, like I said, a very private school. And so everybody had the BMWs, Teslas,
Yeah. And what did you drive?
Lambos, a 95 YJ manual that broke down every other day.
And how was it painted?
Like a Jurassic Park Jeep.
So it's like Lexus, Mercedes, Jurassic Park Jeep.
That's hilarious. That's pretty cool.
That was great.
You went with it. You loved it. You weren't intimidated by I'm driving this and they're driving all them. That's cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm trying to bring my Fairlane because I go to a very liberal private school again, and it's the same thing but more.
You're going to get canceled at your college.
And I want to bring my Fairlane that will shake up the entire college.
Yeah.
Bring it.
She's building a 66 Fairlane. But when we were talking about style, I showed her a bunch of 1970s street freak, auto shop hot rods. She's like, that's what I want. So this thing is just awful. I mean, it looks terrible, but it's beautiful parts. It's making a little over 500 horsepower, and that's rad. Yeah, she just got a nitrous.
Have you ever seen the memes and stuff on social of high school back in the day, and they show a Roadrunner, a Duster.
Right.
Yeah.
That was me. I had a 340 Duster and a 54 Chevy.
There you go.
That was all of us in school. Those photos are what I lived, right?
Awesome.
And nobody had new cars, and they were all muscle cars, and we all got in trouble, right? Yeah. And speaking of cool cars, we understand you have a cool project for the SEMA show. Can you tell us a little bit about that project without revealing too much? Just a little bit.
Yeah. So we've had the project in our family for a very long time.
Since you were
born.
Yeah, since you were born. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I have pictures of me working on it.
At like 3 years old.
Yeah.
That was one of the cars that she's blocks in with a paper towel.
It's super special, and we were invited to reveal it at SEMA. So we're really excited about that. This is actually, we put all the cars on the back burner, and we are focusing on this one.
Yeah.
Nice. It needs a lot of work done on it. It needs a lot of love.
Yeah.
You want to
This one,
it's like half it. It's mostly it. So
this one, can we get the date in make and model? Is that all right?
No.
Okay. So that's fine. That's fine.
It's old. It's old.
Yeah, this one's old. This one is a real restoration. It's not resto mod or hot rodded. It's a real restoration, and it's a frame off restoration. And I tell everybody this: I will never do it again. I'm not the person for frame off restorations. I bit off way too much, and it has taken like 17 years to I am good with the big projects, like rebuild the motor. Awesome, I can do that. Rebuild the suspension, the brakes, the steering, all that. But when I get down to like this 6-point CAD plated bolt has to be twisted in this direction, I'm like, no, sorry.
Yeah, well, at least you're finishing it. There's so many. You can go on Facebook Marketplace right now and see lots of builds that people just like gave up. So there's a pile of parts. Have fun. Have at it. I give up.
We have been given a massive target and a massive challenge to get it finished to bring to SEMA. So you will see it done. I will kill myself if I have to get it done, but you will see it done. And
well, you got 5 months.
Yeah, I know. She's in there a bunch. And what's really nice is the new generation that are building carburetors. They're on summer break, and they all want to work on cars. And so I'm going to have them help restore it as well. So we'll have lots of little hands.
Yeah, definitely.
Team effort.
Cool.
Yeah, we have a bunch of, like, after my class ends, I'll be more in there.
Yeah.
And working on it at the end of this month, which will be really good. But I leave early August. So
I have her for like 45 straight days. So we're going to right now we're doing a parts list of what we need to order. And then it's going to be just 45-day thrash.
Yeah. So you're going to monopolize her time, Dad.
Content. We're going to just bank content.
That's all it's going to be.
For all her.
For the next year, it's only going to be this car.
Lots of long days and weekends, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's the fun stuff. I mean, that's like, I wish I did a project like that with my dad so I could look back on it. And hopefully she does too. Yeah, she's 45.
That's a nice thing too, is everything's like documented. We do a lot of video. So it's like certain things will be like, oh my gosh, we did do that.
Yeah.
I have a really bad memory, a terrible memory. I can't remember what I ate last night.
I know where you're. Yeah.
Looking back on everything we've documented and what people have documented about us is I think the best part.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Motorhead Digital. Motorhead Digital are digital marketing experts for your automotive aftermarket, restoration, performance, race, and restyling shop. They help you supercharge your shop's website, social media, and entire online presence to attract those badass customers you're looking for. Check us out at motorheaddigital.com.
And I mean, truthfully, that's like another super cool part of it is, Dane, you made the comment about like, hopefully she looks back and says, hey, I got to do this with my dad, right? But also like expand that vision to think like all of those other kids that you have involved, they get to look back and say, hey, look what I got to do, right? Look what I got to be involved with, not just because Riley's my best friend, but because her dad took the time to teach me, to show me, to help me, to expand my knowledge and expand my vision of what my future could be. So like, kudos to you guys 1000% for taking that on. And sometimes you make impacts in places that you really don't even understand that you're doing, because you're just doing what you normally do. So like hands up to you guys. Like, seriously, that's super cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think
that's awesome.
Like, if we wanted to kind of go back a little bit to how do we get the youth engaged, honestly, like having this conversation kind of brought up an idea. You know, we've had this idea, Riley and I have had this idea called Open the Garage. And it's getting the older generation who's wrenching to open the garage to a younger generation. Their kids might not be interested. Their grandkids might not be interested. But there's some kid down the street that's building a go-kart that
100%
would love to be interested, right?
Yep.
And as we were talking, I was thinking, like, how do we find the funnel? And it's like a Cars and Coffee is a funnel, right? If we can somehow package where the older generation that's going to Cars and Coffee with their cars can somehow almost like be on a registry or something, you know, where the younger crew in their town could say, you know, I'm interested in cars, but I don't have a parent who is. And, you know, somehow make that connection.
Yeah, you're not wrong. A great example is my husband's stepdad. He has like tons of cars, right? And he loves going to Cars and Coffee. He absolutely loves it. But he's got a decades of mechanical knowledge of working on cars. But, you know, like all of the boys have all grown up and they all know about cars and they all do their own things with cars. But he still has so much knowledge that he could share and has stuff that he could show them how to work on it, right? But it just, like you said, there is no outlet for that. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that is cool.
Very cool. Well, we have monopolized a lot of your time and you guys have been super great. Thank you so much for all of the information that you've shared, for helping not only us, but everybody in our audience fueling their success. And we always end our podcast with what we call a speed round. And we want 100% whatever comes to mind first. So we've got a couple of different questions for you. Feel free to like jump in and give your response. Again, whatever comes to mind first.
So how do you want us to do it? You want us to give one answer and then she gives her answer? Or
go for it. Go for it. Right. So one of the questions that we have is, what is your favorite tool in your toolbox?
Impact gun.
The T15.
Torx head. Because you use it all the time.
See that one coming.
No, it's tiny little screwdriver.
right.
The only thing that fits on our Edelbrock carburetors.
Yeah, that's funny.
I love it. What's your favorite race driver, team, hot rod, muscle car, truck, whatever kind of rolls for you?
Oh, I'm a big Kyle Larson fan. That guy can drive anything. Literally put him in like a soapbox derby car and he's going to win. That guy is amazing. Drives anything.
Yeah.
Yours?
Versatility of what you can drive is huge.
Yeah. AJ Foyt. That was look at AJ Foyt. That's who I grew up following and he could drive anything.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's so awesome.
You can ask the next question. Sorry.
No, go for it. I want to hear what you got.
Probably, I always mispronounce it's
Zitterstrom.
Ida Zitterstrom. She actually just got moved over to the USA where, I don't know, can we say that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing the licensing.
With
Tony Schumacher.
Yeah, we're doing actually the Pro Comp licensing with her.
Yeah.
So that'll be really exciting. That'll be really good content. So I'm really excited about that. She's really cool.
Yeah, she's very cool. I actually met her at PRI a couple of years ago, and I've absolutely loved watching her journey from Sweden to where she is now. And I've just been like biting, chomping at the bit, like, hey, when are you gonna make your debut in NHRA? And she was like, it's coming. Yeah. So I agree 100%. I think that's super cool.
And that you have a task to get her on the podcast. because
Yeah,
I
right?
connected with her on LinkedIn. That's about as much. I've been following her for a while.
She's super
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
She's so nice. Actually,
She said
grab
her
her fire suit. So I think her debut's at Brainerd if they're racing there this weekend.
Yep.
So in preparation for our licensing, she sent Riley her European championship.
Oh, our FIA
That's
suit.
amazing. That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Yes.
really cool.
It is pretty rad.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it doesn't fit me.
I was going to ask you
He's a
that.
couple sizes smaller than me. So,
Oh man, that is so cool. Yeah, she's a very cool person. Like she is very understated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like she's just super chill in the way she kind of holds herself, and her love and her passion for the sport is incredible. As somebody who, like, for me personally, comes from the racing side of things, I absolutely love what she's bringing to the table, and that is so cool that you guys have made that connection and that she's shared some of those things with you, because she's an incredible resource for you to be able to tap into. That's very awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Let's see. This is always like a big question. And this may be, you can reflect on something maybe your dad has shared or maybe something from somebody else, but, what is the best advice you've ever received and who is that from?
Oh, goodness.
I'm waiting for you. I hear this. Best piece of advice.
I'd probably say the yes and from him. I think that's gotten us everywhere that we've.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
My best piece of advice is just start. Just try.
Yeah.
Just try. I mean, you can learn anything on YouTube. I mean, I swear you can learn anything on YouTube. You might have to fish through, some of the junky videos, but you will find in our industry, you will find people that are just dying to give you that knowledge, and just you can learn anything.
You are not wrong, man. You are not wrong. You can virtually learn anything on YouTube. Just take some of it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. Just get through some of the ones that you.
Right. Yeah. And Riley, what about you?
Fake it till you make it. That's a big one too. Yes and fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know who that'd be from, but just kind of be yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and be willing to get in there, right? And
yeah,
get your
be
hands
willing.
dirty
Be willing to put your neck on a chopping plate. Not in the bad way though.
Right.
Don't
be
do
vulnerable.
Something that you could possibly regret.
Always be nice. Exactly. And don't be scared to fail either.
Oh, this is a big one. I learned it from him.
Oh.
Be nice to everybody in the elevator.
Yes. Yes.
Never heard that one.
You never know who you're next to.
That's right.
I can't say I've heard that before either, but that is great advice.
Yeah.
You never know. All right. And then maybe do you have, that's a better way to say it. Do you have a favorite auto event, car show, racetrack, anything of that nature?
You go first.
You go.
I need to think here.
Okay.
You go.
I love going to Sebring for the 12-hour race.
Okay.
That, from a racing standpoint, is still redneck. It is still like it is still walk around with your beverage and just enjoy the track everywhere. It's not super corporate. People still erect scaffolds and put couches up top with refrigerators and live there for 2 days. It feels like what I think Sebring and those races were in the 70s, before it's just not like homogenized. It's still just super fun. And I won't bring her because it's me and a bunch of my buddies going, and I don't listen, plausible deniability. I don't need my kids seeing.
Yeah. You'll love our producer then. He goes to Watkins Glen a lot. and takes his couch on wheels. It's got a stereo, a cooler.
That's hilarious.
It's a recliner couch. It's pretty freaking rad.
Yeah.
I would say mine is probably our local track, so it's Cletus's Bradenton.
Oh yeah.
Freedom
Factory.
Bradenton, yeah.
I grew up going with my buddies there every Thursday and running our cars, and then going out to not takeovers. And
Thank you.
car shows and all that just fun stuff.
Yeah.
Just like that track was also like where we would go. We've done a bunch of content there. We've met a lot of people that we look up to there. So I really like that track.
That track is setting records left and right. Just constant. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's the air or what, but I mean, everything. The most recent one was Bob Tasca. Just set the world record there. We were there for the race. It was fantastic. I bet Graham, my 14-year-old, sorry parents, I bet him $100 that Tasca was going to break the world record, and it was or not Tasca. It was anybody who was going to break it, and it was literally like race. It's like 9:00 at night. The last race.
The air comes in.
Yeah, the last race, and Tasca beat it by like 2 miles an hour. Wasn't even close.
Yeah. It's honestly, in those circumstances, it's the perfect storm, right? You have the absolute perfect tune-up. You've got all of the atmospheric conditions that come into play. Your tuner knows exactly what's happening on the track, what the traction is, meaning what the track is pulling. And whoever that driver is, just be in sync with everything that's happening with the car at that moment, right? There's nothing missed. And it is the perfect storm for all of those things to happen. And it is pretty freaking magical. Like, it's really cool. So, and like Bradenton is, like, it's a great track. You know, it's got all of the best of things. And so it's really cool to be able to see those things when we see those drivers, like, make those monumental jumps and stuff.
Well, if you're ever in town for a race and you want a home-cooked meal, just give us a call.
Aw, thanks.
Hang out.
What is on my bucket list to go to the next race with fuel cars.
Yeah. You know, when they first announced that they were doing that, the pro shootout, my first reaction was that track is not long enough for that. Because we haven't had top fuel in Bradenton in 20 years.
You know why they did that? Why they specifically did it at that time with those cars? Is because they're trying to build homes right next to it, and they were trying to prove how loud it gets on that track, and how the people are going to sue everyone because there was like all this like science stuff. That,
with Freedom Factory and everything,
they're going to have headphones on as they are actively living.
The unfortunate part is as much as, and I know this because we've just gone through this in our local track, is as much good things as the racetrack does bring, unfortunately, residents always win out. They just always do, right? Developments do, because areas have to expand. It is the economic basis of a town or a city, and what happens at the racetrack is something fun. And as far as a majority of the residents care, it's not something that they care about.
Right.
Our local track, for example, had been in business for over 50 years, was there long before there were actually any residents in the area. There was actually an airbase in our area that shared that same space. And the airbase had been there for decades and decades before, you know, that even the track had been there. And they decommissioned the airbase. And then now they just, in January of this year, they closed our racetrack because all the residents just kept creating issues. And it was a no-win situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a circle track here, and I think it's an 8th mile track that is running into the same issues where the town council is saying, well, you have to make it quieter and you have to limit your hours and all that. And I made a comment on the local news Facebook page that says people need to do their homework before they move somewhere, because that track's been there way before there was houses there. And if you didn't do your homework, is it the track's fault? Not really. Okay. I know Cletus did a whole piece on, hey, this is where the line is. There was never supposed to be development past this point. Now they're going to surround the Freedom Factory and Bradenton with houses. And, you know, I know they went in, that's raised a lot of awareness, but it's tough to stop it. It's ridiculous, right?
Ray, you were at the council meeting.
There was a line of 200 people wanting to talk. And the entire time the council was like, we're with you guys. And then they voted against it. Yeah. The whole time. The entire time.
Yep.
The whole time.
Yeah, and I mean that's the really sad and scary part about it. And the thing that we really were pushing for our local county and city to understand is, one is the jobs that you're taking away. Granted, it's not a massive, job opportunity, but it still brings jobs to the community. But more importantly, it gives the youth a place to express themselves, right? And do it safely. Right. Because I keep saying, I told everybody in discussions that we have, I was like, hey, I understand your noise complaints. I get it, right? And we've done so many different things to be compliant, like Barry said, where we reduced hours. We, especially during the week, like anybody who ran had to have mufflers, like all these different things that we tried to combat that. But at the same time, like when you close that racetrack, all of those people who used to come race at the racetrack now are going to go back to doing it on the street because that's what they do, right? Like there is no law that you're going to pass that's going to make them say, hey, I'm not going to do that, because we already have those laws, especially in California for me. And they're willing to take that risk for their car to get impounded, for them to have fines. They don't care, that's their freedom of expression.
Yeah, and that's where NHRA started out that way, to get that and the safety safari, to get kids off the street. And now we're heading in the other direction because of development and tracks closing. There are some tracks opening, which is good, but we really have to wrap this up here. So we could talk all day, right? And I know Riley's got some homework to do. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Riley and Dane, for joining us. Yes. And Riley, remind us, listeners, where they can find you, how they can reach out, how they can learn more about Riley's Rebuilds and everything you're doing, and even where you might show up at a car show or an event.
Yeah, so everything is Riley's Rebuild. So it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Shopify is our website. So it's Riley's Rebuild Shopify. That's where you can purchase services or carburetors. Nice. And then you guys can DM us, email us. We have a team who sees and returns emails. And if it's super specific to certain things, they send them straight to me, or I'm always on there as well. And then our phone numbers
they're up there as well.
Very cool.
And we'll be at SEMA this year with a finished car. That's going to happen.
Well, I look forward to seeing your guys' reveal.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It's been super cool. I love everything that you guys are doing. I love that your guys' relationship is what it is and has built and gotten you to where you are. So congratulations. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We know you don't want to miss an episode, so don't forget to smash that bell so that you get notified of every new episode. Click that like button, leave us a comment, and share with your people. And visit us repeatedly. We love it.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.